Over the last few years, I've taken more than 100 self-portraits. Now, you might think that taking photos of yourself that many times is quite boring, weird, or even a bit self-indulgent. I thought that too, but actually taking 100 portraits of myself kind of did the opposite. It unlocked a level of creativity and confidence I didn't have before, and it taught me more about photography than any of the dozens of photography courses I've taken over the years. In this video today, I want to share 5 things I learned from taking self-portraits and why this might be one of the most powerful tools for you as a photographer. Let's get into it. So the very first thing I learned is that you will gain a lot of confidence from taking self-portraits. So when I first got into photography, I did what a lot of people do. I signed up for a structured course. I enrolled in a 1-year photography diploma, and it was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. I really loved that course. It introduced me to a lot of well-known photographers. It taught me all the technical skills I needed, and it really helped me understand how photography actually works. But at the same time, I constantly felt intimidated. Every week there was a new topic, shutter speed, studio lighting, focusing, and I remember there was one particular day where we learned how to use a light meter, and I just thought, oh, this is also technical, I will never master this. But then, for my final project, I actually took a series of self-portraits, and honestly it changed everything for me. In fact, I loved it so much that I just kept taking more and more self-portraits even after the course finished, and it gave me so much time and space to really grow as a photographer. Because the thing is, when it's just you photographing yourself, there's no client that you have to please. There's no bride and groom you have to capture in the perfect lighting. There's no model that you're paying by the hour. It's just you. And the great thing is you are the boss of your photo shoot. You can try stuff, you can mess it up, you can try again. And that's really what I experienced. It's incredibly freeing to be in your own home studio where you can do whatever you want and fail hundreds of times and learn at your own pace. And I think that's where confidence actually comes from. It's not from knowing everything from the beginning, but from trying it over and over again until you master it. So if you're still on the fence about taking your own portrait, this really is, for me, the biggest reason why. The more often you photograph yourself, the more experienced and skilled you will become. Okay, then the second thing I experienced when I took 100 self-portraits is that I noticed that taking a lot of pictures of yourself will really make you a creative all-rounder. To illustrate this, let me give you an example. Imagine somebody who only or primarily takes photos of birds. Okay, so they will need excellent technical skills, they need to have the right lens, they need to understand lighting, and now compare that to somebody taking self-portraits. Of course, they need all of that, but they also need to know how to pose, how to do their own hair and makeup, how to style themselves, how to do art direction, and so much more. And honestly, before I started taking self-portraits, I really didn't understand how much is actually involved. And yeah, 100 images later, I can tell you there's a lot to juggle, because you have to set the focus, then you're stepping into the frame, you have to trigger the shutter remotely while at the same time hitting the right pose. So you're really solving problems in real time. And by the way, that's before things go wrong, which they do all the time. So for me, taking self-portraits really became an education. I learned how to make weird props from resin, I learned how to sew my own costumes, or how to create specific effects in Photoshop. So if you now start taking self-portraits, you will notice that you will become incredibly good at multitasking and solving problems. I recently photographed a friend of mine and had a real moment of confusion because I thought, why is this so easy? And then I realized it's because I'm only operating the camera. I'm not also trying to pose and do all the stuff in front of the camera. So yeah, taking self-portraits will make you an absolute master in front of and behind the camera. So much so that regular photography will suddenly seem quite straightforward and much more accessible. Before I get to the next lesson, just a reminder to subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. It helps me a lot and only takes a second for you. Thank you. And now back to the video. Alright, then the next lesson I learned from taking 100 self-portraits is that your artistic eye will really deepen and develop. So, have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect? It's the idea that beginners often think something is very easy, while experts actually realize how complex something is. And really this describes my self-portrait journey perfectly. In the beginning, I thought I had it all figured out, so I shot in JPEG, I used the autofocus and a remote, done. But the deeper I went in the topic, the more I realized how much I had to learn still. For example, how to create images that were sharp enough to print them, how to retouch skin properly, or how to color grade images. And then something really interesting happened to me. As I learned all these skills, I noticed that my artistic eye changed. And I think it would be the same for you. You would start noticing what separates a good image from a great image. You might become more discerning, maybe even a little bit obsessive about image quality. But I think in the end, that's a good thing. For me personally, it's been very rewarding because, of course, the more I learned, the better my images became, even though they're still far from perfect, and the more satisfying the process actually felt. By the way, just a quick interruption to tell you something. So I have a free ebook available, which contains a quick start for taking self-portraits, how to focus, what camera to use, and lots more. So if you want this beginner-friendly guide, you can get it on my website. I'm gonna link it below in the description. Now back to the video. Alright, then lesson number 4, I learned from taking 100 self-portraits. This is a big one for all creatives really. It's that you will never run out of ideas. So in the beginning I thought, okay, how many times can I photograph the same person, myself, without getting bored? But then something really unexpected happened. The more photos I took, the more ideas I had. So yeah, this is really counterintuitive. Not fewer ideas, but actually more and more ideas. It was like every shoot became a stepping stone for the next shoot. I did maybe a lighting experiment, which turned into its own concept, and then that turned into a series, and so on and so on. So yeah, what I realized is what many artists know, that creativity doesn't disappear the more you use it. In fact, it expands more and more and more if you give yourself permission to keep experimenting. Alright, and the last lesson I learned from taking 100 self-portraits is that you will really find your community by doing this. So self-portrait photography, by its very nature, is a very isolating pursuit because you are alone photographing yourself. You're not in a big studio with clients or whatever. So you work alone, you make every decision yourself. I'm fine with that because I'm a total introvert and I like being by myself. But eventually it did start to feel a bit like an echo chamber. And then I began sharing my work online and social media. I started to enter competitions and open calls. I started to go to events for self-portrait photographers. And something started to change. I discovered a community of people who I could talk to, other self-portrait photographers, curators, publishers, students, just people who understood maybe what I was doing, as weird as it is. And that really was a game changer for me. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, is that your community is out there as well. So if you're getting into self-portraits, please share your work, even if it's unfinished, if you're not totally happy with it, just share it anyway. You really never know what conversations or connections it might bring. So yeah, taking 100 self-portraits taught me obviously far more than just how to use a camera. It really taught me how to see and actually how to trust myself as a photographer and creative. Hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe. See you next time.